Welcome back to the Hot Mess to Awesomeness podcast, a show all about inspiring smart, busy women to put their happiness at the top of their to-do list. Join your host and life coach, Dion Thompson, as she chats with amazing women who have figured out how to make their happiness a priority, and more importantly, what it's really like to go from hot mess to awesomeness. And now, on with the show.
Welcome everyone to the Hot Mess to Awesomeness podcast. I am your host and life coach, Dion Thompson. Okay, so I haven't said anything to my brand new BFF, Stephanie, who is my guest today. I just wanted to jump on and say, we just had a dance party, loved everything about it, loved the songs, but here's the thing that I thought was the coolest. It was like we were at a club, minus all the alcohol, and I saw you across the dance floor and you were just my soul sister. I could envision this moment, right? Like us just being out there doing our thing, because that's who we are. And like being like, hey, you're awesome. No, you're awesome. And we're all drunk and like loving up on each other and just dancing the night away. That's exactly what it felt like. I loved everything about that. And I feel even just from that moment, I'm like, we are meant to be friends. And then it was one of those like weird, we can get really not trapped. Especially right now, my world is this, not only just my home, but it's my town and my community, even my province and my country. There's a lot of focus on that. And here we are in two different countries living in completely two different spaces. And yet there was this like meeting of the everything that I just thought, you know what, that's awesome.
I know. I love it. It's so good. I've been really excited to chat with you ever since our last conversation. So this is like epic. I've been talking about it. It couldn't come soon enough.
I am so pumped. So my guest today is Stephanie Freiboth. And we met digitally really we're meeting everybody digitally right now. And it was instantaneous. I was like, this is going to be awesome. And I'm so excited for you to share your story, your hot mess to awesomeness journey, because I think it's really, number one, it's very inspiring. It's very powerful. And I know that there's a lot of brilliant women out there who can 100% relate to the walls that you busted through. So I'm super excited for you to share that with us. But before we get jumping into that, I kind of want to let people know the official piece about you, other than I think you're awesome and I think we're sisters in another life.
End of episode.
Done. That's it. So Stephanie ditched the traditional views of what success should look like to blaze trails for other women to do the same. And we're so grateful for that, by the way. She is now the owner of My Empowered Career, empowering women to find ridiculously rewarding careers that align with their priorities during any season of life. Additionally, she is the curator of the Career Insider Community Facebook group, a safe space for women to navigate their careers. Please shut up. That is like you're so my person. I am so excited. I'm grateful that you are here on this planet and in my world, and that you offer the gift that is you. And I'm excited to hear what brought you to this space, because I just glimpses at your story. I was like, oh, there might have been some hefty decisions in there, some moments of like, I don't think I can do this. So Stephanie, dive into that with us and let us know what prompted you to make this big shift in your world and become really such a support for so many women.
I think let's go back, right? Let's go back in time, because everything that I am and everything that I'm doing right in this moment is a compilation of who I was. And who I was has changed over the years, right? I'm not the same woman I was a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And so I lived my entire career up until now with this mantra of, I still want to figure out what I want to be when I grow up. Yeah. Like, wow, how many of us sit at home and we're like, I have a degree in XYZ. I'm not doing that work today, or I am doing that work and it's not what I thought it would be. At 18 years old, we're forced to like figure out what you want to be. And I was like, oh my gosh, I thought I knew. But so I said yes to everything. I was tapped on the shoulder to do so many different jobs that I don't have a traditional linear path. And all too often we're looking for this linear path. Like, tell me what my next step is. If I'm an operations specialist today. Maybe my next position is an operations specialist too, which is an elevated position. And then my next position is a manager. Well, what if I don't want to lead people? And so I really wanted to rule the world. When I got out of college, I'm like, I'm going to be a CEO and I'm going to own the world and it's going to be so good. And then life happened. Life happened. I got married. We went through infertility. We had babies. My husband was traveling. I was traveling. It was just like, I realized finally in the last several years, I have to honor the season of life that I'm in. And I have to live out that moment and be confident enough in myself that no matter which road I take, I can always change and I can always do something else if it doesn't work out. And so I've been training my whole life for the work that I do today. I truly have been training my whole life for this. I've led people. I've done jobs that I didn't even know how to do, and they had faith in me that I could do it based on my skills, not my experience or my background. And so I've been coaching people with their careers, developing leaders. I have been stepping into this space and encouraging people to do what feels right to them my entire career. And finally, I said, you know what? I'm spending all of this time, so much time, Dion. I'm spending so much time in my 9 to 5, and I haven't found the opportunity to do as much of this work as I would like to. And so I made some sacrifices. I talked it out with my husband. Like, we've made some significant financial sacrifices. But it is for and it is for the better. So sometimes you have to take a step sideways or what feels like a step backwards to accelerate your career. And that's really what I did. And so I'm surrounded by so many women who are just trying to find a path that it is inspiring me to keep doing what I'm doing. Because while I haven't had like super significant trials in my life, every one of the things that I went through was big to me.
And I think that is a extremely powerful and important awareness. So many of the women who've been guests on this podcast, who I've communicated with and who are clients, we talk about the power of our stories and the impact that sharing our experiences has. And so many of them are like, yeah, but my story's no biggie. Like, who am I to,
Yes.
I haven't, I look to someone who has gone through something that I would deem huge. And I go, well, that's not me. And so why would anybody want to listen to me? And I think we had chatted about this earlier when we were like, when we start to share and to put out into the world really what we had gone through, those that are around us that love us and care are like, yeah, this is kind of a big deal. Like, it's kind of a big deal that you moved through this space, that you managed this situation, that you are here breathing today. And I know for me, when people would say that, I'd be like, just living my life. Just like,
Yeah.
Would you say there was would you agree that when you're in it, just doing what you have to do to get through to the next day, it just feels like that's just your life? Like, did you experience anything like that?
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of us go through that, where we feel like we're just doing the next thing, or we're so focused on getting the next job or getting the next promotion or finding the next project to work on, that we're not necessarily living in the moment and giving ourselves credit where credit is due. Yeah. And a lot of that comes with the conditioning over the years of feedback. So you get feedback, you act on that feedback, and you're supposed to get better. Yeah. And at some point, we have to be able to be confident enough to say, that's not me. And if that means that this spot in life is not right for me anymore, I've outgrown these relationships. I have outgrown a job, or it has outgrown me. My gosh, like, take a step back and put your ego aside. If something has outgrown you and it's not your skill set anymore, or ever was. When I made this transition, I had a couple of opportunities within the same company that I was in, and I did not want them. It was not going to accelerate my career to where I wanted to go. It was not going to give back the kind of service and love that I wanted to put out into the universe. And so I said, holy cow. Like, there was a little bit of both. They outgrew me, I outgrew them. And so I think we need to let our ego aside a little bit and assess the situation for what it is, but also document it. so much power in documenting. So let's say, let me just share an example with you.
Yeah.
When I started this journey of being an entrepreneur, I used the notes app in my phone, and I just started talking to it. And when I go back and I read that, even just 3 weeks ago, I'm like, I forgot that I felt that way. I forgot that I was overwhelmed by the emotion of having time freedom that I didn't have before. Like I I forgot that. So write it down. So important to write it down.
I love that. My listeners will know I'm a huge advocate of journaling and of the magic that occurs when something leaves your head, goes down your arm, and pops out, right? Like it just, there's
Yes.
something really powerful there. I'm interested in what that was like. What is it that you did to sidestep the ego in those moments when you were like literally in it and you're working and and when you'd said received feedback, what initially popped up in my head is like, yes, we receive feedback, but it's all based on external like criteria and other people's goals and visions and missions. And not until we go, well, what is it that I want? And who am I? Can you even identify? So tell me about that. What was that process like of uncovering you enough so you could go, nope, it doesn't match anymore. Doesn't jive.
Sometimes it was a swift kick in the rear, because it was like, I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to see the feedback. When I left, I had been with the company 12 years, including an internship, and I had a specific position in mind that I wanted. And I've been tapped on the shoulder to do some really cool stuff that others in the organization, a very small portion of a Fortune 50 company, had the opportunity to do. And still yet I wasn't fulfilled because I was like, I need that thing. I need that title. And it really wasn't until I left the organization, because I was just fed up with it. I was like, I'm done. I can't keep giving if I'm not going to get something back. It wasn't until I left that I looked back on it and said, oh my gosh, like I wanted it more than they wanted it. I was trying to put a square peg in a round hole, and I wasn't hearing the feedback because I didn't want to hear the feedback. I was like, no, I can do what she's doing. Like if she can do that, I can do that. And that's a good mentality to have in some cases. But I think like riding the bus too long is oftentimes our problem, right? We get to this point where we're like, I'm not a quitter. I can do this. I'll show you that I can take your feedback and do something with it. And so that was a really critical moment for me, because from that point on, I was able to navigate the second half of my career, the second portion of my career, with a little more of a, I don't know if I can say this, but like put it in the bucket. Like if it's not, that's like a thing. Like I had to set aside those things that like, what do I want? And when it doesn't fit anymore, I need to be okay, because I am talented, I am smart. And you know what? There are a lot of companies that want me. And so it was a process. The other thing that I did, mentors, huge. You need to surround yourself with people who are a few steps ahead of you, people who are not in your organization or in your immediate circle, because those people, they see things that you don't see.
Yeah.
And you have to be open to receive.
And I equate that in the non employment or career path, like as I call them believing mirrors. So they're the people that can see your greatness even when you can't. People who have, either due to their own personal experiences or just the magic about them, that they can look at you and go, yeah, okay, I don't know what you think you see, but that's not what the world is seeing right now. So you need to get on board here, because you're awesome. This is great. You can do this, so on and so forth. And, I equate that to the biology of your brain, right? So whatever you pay attention to, you get more of. So if you're paying attention to how you can't, or that you shouldn't, or that your focus is on something that's kind of not meant for you, your brain will delete or distort or just completely negate things that don't match what it is that you're focused on, or don't match the belief system that you're running. And it takes those people that you have to invite in. You have to bring them around, because that's the other thing. I can say to somebody all day long, you know what I see about you? Yada, yada, yada. I think that you're great, this, that, and the other thing. And they're like, who the fuck are you? Like, you're no one to me. You're not, I don't have a relationship with you. So there's a quote by James Comer, there's no significant learning occurs without a significant relationship of mutual respect. So whoever you're going to be bringing into your world, or whatever it is that you want more of, you need to invite these people in, and then you need to be willing to be like, I'm going to listen to you. I might not always be super comfortable with what you're going to say. I may feel challenged, but inviting in those mentors, whether it's through like an official mentoring relationship, or building your circle, and what resources you tap into, who you follow on social media, all those things.
Well, you're the sum of the 5 people you hang out with most. I mean,
absolutely.
When I took a step back and saw some of that, I was like, time out. We've got to figure this out. I wanted in life. And I was like, if I'm going to get those things, I need to know how it's done. I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit. And I will tell you, I thought I knew what I was getting into, but I'm wearing all the hats right now. And so what I'm thinking about is I'm being selfish. What am I learning? And I am being crazy clear about what it is that I need to learn and what it is that I need to hire out in order to make this work, because I'm one person. And in order to deliver my genius, I can't be too bogged down with things that I'm not so great at. And I think that's the point, right? Surround yourself with great people.
I think what I just heard there was a massive, massive life lesson for women all over the world, not just in relation to your career, but if you take that and apply it to the lens of you. So you must have this entrepreneurial spirit to be able to apply to the you, right? To be able to say, what is it that I want to do more of? What do I not love? And who can I delegate that to? And where can I, shove that off? Or even just say, not mine, not doing it.
Yes,
right?
Ever. I just don't want to do that ever because it's not me. That's
right?
okay.
And it's interesting. I talk about for women and burnout and exhaustion, and in the everything for everybody stuckness. Often it's because we look at all these roles that we have in life, and then we have all these criteria for each role. And we get sort of bogged down by this idea that, well, in order to be a mom, I must do all of these things. And at work, I have to do all of these things. And to be a daughter or a sister, or whatever. And in reality, taking that mindset of saying, what is best serving me? What is it that I want more of? And go, okay, well, these mom duties that I arbitrarily assign to myself, I don't want to do those. Bye. This, I don't want to do this.
Right.
This, right. And then when you fine tune and sort of zero in, you are at that highest level of self, and the joy is there. So the same thing when you are as an entrepreneur, or even as someone who is, self-branding as an employed person. It's that same idea. What is it that you really want to do more of, and stuff that you don't want to do, and fine tune from there, and seek out those spaces where you can be you. So go ahead.
And I think in that same vein is being unapologetic about changing your mind, because we get stuck in this loop of what are other people going to think of me. And so we need to stop and think about what is invested, but then what do we really want and need? Because if you don't think about it, if you don't make the right choice for yourself at any season of life that you're in, you are not giving yourself permission to be the best version of yourself. You are not giving yourself permission to be happy, and you need to be happy.
It's that sunk cost mentality. So I can't even remember exactly what movie it was, but there was it's this scene where these two guys they're heading out to go to a burger joint, and they're in their hallway of their apartment building, and they're like, oh man, I forgot my phone. And they look back and they go, we've gone too far. We can't turn back now. Right. And we just have to figure it out, and we just have to make the best of it. And that's very much for so many women, it seems to be, that's what is impressed upon us. Like, your life, things are going to suck, but you just need to make the best of it. You need to keep moving forward and make sure other people are happy, and make sure this is good and this is good. And you check those boxes on that to-do list of life. And, but the stop and pause and go, how can I reframe what I have put in to then give me more of what I want? It might be a stop. It might be what feels like a step sideways or back or whatever. But ultimately, it's about making that conscious choice to up level yourself, right? To be that highest version of yourself.
Mhm.
It's so important. And I don't think that enough people are talking about that. Looking at women, especially, and what they're willing to invest in, often themselves is at the bottom of the list.
Right.
That's just been
Right.
sort of what I've experienced.
Yeah.
And
I think there's another component to that of we have information coming in at a rapid rate that we can't even process all of the information that's coming in, and social media doesn't help with a lot of that. And so we see a lot of the success stories, and people don't talk about it, right? You're not going to talk about with your neighbor that you're struggling with your marriage, or that your child has a learning disability, because you're worried about being judged. And I think that's why it's like community.
all right, so that was fun. We had a small little glitch in tech and had to like shut it all down, turn it all back on. And so we are going to do our best to reconnect to what we were talking about. So Stephanie, bring us back to what you were sharing. I mean, I was riveted what I could hear, and then it glitched, and then
Yeah.
I missed it. So I'm excited to hear.
Story of life. Here we are. So I was really talking about comparison, and the fact that, we look at everyone's success, and we just have to know that everyone's success was once a mess. And, we're inundated with social media and the good stuff that we see all the time. And there's this feeling sometimes of being not good enough, and this feeling of like, if things are not going right in your marriage, or maybe your child has a learning disability or something like that, you are feeling judged. And so we live in this world of like, I don't want to be judged. I don't want to be judged, versus I want to support and help people. And it's the sole reason that I started the Career Insider community. It really brings us back to providing a really safe place for people to come and share. Are you sad? Are you frustrated? What is going on in your life? What season of life are you in that is creating these feelings and these emotions? And that's how we deal with them. And that's how we can move forward. It's this constant cycle. If you keep yourself in a cycle of not addressing the issues and saying, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, until you're not fine and your top blows off, you've lost precious, precious time that you will never get back.
It's as if we forget, or that it's not something that enough of us are talking about, that all of the the shitstorm that we feel we're going through, it feels so isolating. It feels so only me. It feels so nobody's going to understand this. And we compartmentalize what's happening out here from what's happening in here. And I think it's so powerful that you have a community that's designed around having those real conversations about, yes, I am awesome and brilliant and all of those things, and I feel like a bag of pucks. Like, so let's have that conversation and remember that vulnerability is a superpower. And when we bring it to the forefront, it creates like these really powerful human connections that, if anything, sort of propel us into a greater, higher level. And so what a great opportunity to have those sort of two pieces aligned, being, career and work, and what's traditionally been very externalized with safe container, because it's so important. So thank you for that. I'm, again, gift to the world. Anyway, so I'm very interested in what specifically. So you took the big leap. You left the super good on paper life and made a bunch of shifts that felt more aligned with who you truly wanted to be in the world. And now you're out supporting others in a real, raw, vulnerable way, which, again, super powerful. What is it that what kind of wisdom are you sharing with your clients, with your community? What do you've come, you climbed the mountain, you've been at the peak, and now you're coming down with the big, everybody needs to know this. So what is it that you want the world to really take away from all of this?
So I want to give you and all of your listeners a permission slip. I feel like here's your permission. If you've heard it 100 times and this is your moment, here's your permission slip to pivot. Here's your permission slip to not worry about what your mom is going to say, or your friend, or your coworker, or your boss. Here's your permission to say, I'm going to take the time to figure out what is it that I love about my life and I love about what I do, both work and personal. What is it that I don't love anymore? What doesn't align anymore? And also, what season of life am I in? And honor that. Here is your permission to honor the season of life you are in. Are you recently married? Are you going through a divorce? Do you have an elderly parent that you are caring for? Do you have an illness of your own, or are you caring for someone with an illness? Are you an empty nester? Are you fostering children? Like, there are a million life circumstances that happen, and we need to honor that. So your permission slip is into perpetuity. It is forever. You can use it at any time, and I empower women to use it. And if you have to say, like, I got this permission slip from Stephanie and she said it was okay, that is so, like, find your people who can give you that permission and who can encourage the next step. It's not easy. I'm not saying that I've given myself a permission slip and now I'm like, oh, I'll just do whatever I want. In full transparency, there are days when I'm like, what did I just step into? I stepped into something bigger than me when it comes to managing a business the way I am. When it comes to serving people and creating all the content, it was created for me before. Now I have to do it all. And so we all have these moments where we're like, did I make the right choice? And guess what? I am smart, I am capable, and I am talented, and I am driven. Those qualities in me mean if this doesn't work the way I think it should, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to pivot and I'm going to try something new. Like, give yourself permission. So that's my nugget of wisdom. That's what I'm trying to share with women across, around the globe. I'm really just trying to reach as many people to give you, just do it. Do the thing that makes you happy.
And it's so powerful and so important. And I hope everybody takes that and right now is jotting down on a piece of paper their permission slip, and to add to that those powerful I am statements. There's magic in reinstalling that, so that when you do find yourself going, what am I going to do? you remind, who am I? What is it that I want more of? What do I bring to the table? And getting into the habit of saying out loud that I am brilliant. I am powerful. I am capable. I have lots of skills. I bring magic everywhere that I go. Yay me. Okay, so move into that. And I think what else is really important is that to remind ourselves that we are not alone. That again, many of our struggles, especially the do all the things for everybody women who are so used to not asking for help, right? Not receiving, not in the habit of receiving help.
Yes.
And feeling really isolated and alone. There are communities, my community, Stephanie's community, in combination. Like, there are spaces where you can step into, and all of a sudden you're like, I'm not the square peg in the round hole. Oh my God, I belong here. Right. Yes. To quote my superhero, Brene Brown, and she talks about that difference between belonging and fitting in. And so many of us spend most of our lives trying to fit into environments that don't align with how we choose to show up in the world. And we're conditioned to feel like it's our fault, when in reality, it's just, we're in the wrong environment. We just need to pick up and move. And so pivoting, especially, it's really important that the first bit of work you do is make sure your feet are planted in the right spot. And so that you're pivoting through experiences that are meant for you. And so what's going on now? What's going on in your world and in your community? What exciting ventures are underway?
Yes. So speaking of pivoting, it is all about what my clients and what people are asking for. And so I am trying all sorts of different options. I'm really excited about a career summit that is coming up shortly here. And it is all encompassing. So I truly feel like you are not one without the other. You are not your mindset or your career or your spirituality or your family. You're not one thing. And so my approach is very much holistic in terms of like addressing all of the things that you need. You might be stronger in some areas and not as strong in other areas, but this summit is going to be epic because it is going to help you in all facets. And it's there's that piece of it. We have a career activator series, which is an 8-week series. I've got a variety of options for people to really plug in. And that's what's important to me. I just want people to feel connected. And I want whatever, like if I can't help you, I want to be able to recommend you to someone who can help you. So I continue to build my network. I continue to leverage people around me. I have mentors. I'm doing everything that I share with my clients. I mean, if I'm telling you to do it, I know it works because I've done it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, there's a lot of really cool things that are on the horizon in just a short week from now.
Awesome. So if anybody was interested in that, is that something that they could tap into?
Yes, absolutely. So if they are interested, we'll put in the comments the text link for the summit, and just text summit to the text link, and then follow me on Instagram. It's Stephanie.Freiboth, Freiboth. And then I'm also on Facebook as well. And so just really super excited about the opportunity to share more of what I love. And I have to share before we get off this call today to your listeners, they have a very special opportunity to be connected with you and to be connected with someone who is so passionate about helping others achieve their goals because you've been there. And I just like the connection is real that you talked about in the beginning. We could have talked all day, but time wouldn't allow it. And so find those connections with people. I encourage your listeners to find connections with people who you really want to be around, who you care about, who are doing things that are exciting, because you are going to level up if you surround yourself with people who you care about and they care about you.
Brilliant. Thank you. And thank you for that. Very much appreciated. I am so excited that you are in my world, and I'm really looking forward to all of the amazing things that you are sharing with your community and with women everywhere. It's so important, so necessary. And again, as we're sort of on different ends of the same spectrum, and for the listeners, it's like you said, it's not just one thing, and it's not just work, and it's not just how you show up in your family. It's your willingness to show up in all the spaces of your life with the same idea that it's you, and what you want matters, and what you are interested in matters. And so yeah, so excited. Thank you.
We can totally talk all day.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Stephanie. And to everybody who's listening, I hope you have the opportunity very quickly, like as soon as you hit stop on this, you're going to pop on over to one of the social media platforms and touch base and connect. Brilliant. Thank you.
So good.
Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the show. Join Dion again next week to learn more about what you can do to go from hot mess to awesomeness.